Greetings to everyone. We are very happy to launch our 7th session under the series, Achievers and Trailblazers, Women Taking Untrodden Career Paths. A very warm welcome to Ms. Chitra Sarkar, who is joining us today and giving us a talk and talking about her experiences. A very warm welcome to all the AIWC members and our well-wishers who have joined us on this platform. This is the 7th talk under the series, Trailblazers. And every time I think about trailblazers, I think about Robert Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken. This is a very philosophical poem which talks about the woods diverging in two paths. One where many have traveled down because it has that wear and tear, and the other route which is green and almost untrodden. So Frost says, long I stood and debated on which track to take. Will it be the one that everyone has taken, or will I take a path that not many have gone through? And Frost takes the less trodden one and he says, we in life know that way leads on to way, and we never come back to the first point from which we started the journey. And when we take an untrodden path, we are a trailblazer and we are an achiever. Because when we talk about trodden paths, there is already a structure to our career. There is already a ladder that has been structured for us to climb to success. Every step of the ladder is already there. But a trailblazer has to make those steps, has to make those rungs to climb the ladder. And every step I know is lonely, full of doubts, full of conflicts, but then it is the confidence and the belief in oneself, the conviction that one can do it, that makes us go forward. And I would like to say that the speaker with us today, Ms. Chitra Sarkar, is one of those, I would say, very successful women, not in the conventional sense, but in a very, very unconventional career path that she has chosen. Every woman today knows that there are lots of opportunities. Every girl who comes out of college sees all the advertisements, sees all the career opportunities, sees all the challenges. But there is something in them that draws them back again and again. They want a safe zone. And it is this safe zone that has always been detrimental to women's empowerment, to women's growth and women's success, and women's leadership positions. As long as you take those paths where you draw back and take the path that has been trodden, women will remain where they have been all these years. So under the aegis of the All India Women's Conference, I would like to say that within our cadre itself, we have very successful women who have taken new roles and have been achievers and trailblazers. I'm very happy to welcome Ms. Chitra Sarkar, who is a member in charge of the digital literacy and cybercrime and one of our very own members of AIWC. So this is a very proud moment for all of us here as we celebrate this the success that Chitra has made and the way in which she has been able to transform and transfer her knowledge to many different avenues and walks of life. Starting as Ujjwal branch, starting at Ujjwal branch in East Delhi, after retiring from Air India, she worked for 36 years, lastly as the executive director of Americas and Europe. She has traveled widely, lived in many countries like Hong Kong, Singapore, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, as well as Mumbai and Delhi. So it's a long ages, I would say, long years of experience and long years of living in different cultures that are her strengths today. As at the time of her retirement, she does not sit back doing nothing, but has been able to regenerate and re-enjoy, I would say, the many fascinations that she had in her life from her childhood, like reading. She is a voracious reader. She is also very fond of walking, taking long walking tours, watching birds, visiting museums. And I was very fascinated by you, Chitraji, when I was reading your CV, and I saw that you go around Delhi through to giving tours, tourists, some idea about the National Museum and the National Handicrafts Museum, the Humayun's Tomb Museum, the Buddha Museum. So it speaks volumes of your wide reading. And I know this session today is going to be very informative, and it is something that is going to come from your own conviction. That is what is more important. You believe in what you have done in your adolescence and until retirement. And then after retirement, suddenly we find a different Chitraji coming on the scene, no longer an aviation officer, but someone who loves culture, who loves reading, who loves environment and seeing what happens around her. She's not only a member of AIWC, she is also a member of several other NGOs in the area of women's empowerment. And every year, she joins the permanent mission of India to the UN at a side event for the UN CSW. Must say this bio that I read actually impressed me so much, because as a literature person, these are all areas that really are fascinating for me and which I really value. And once again, when I see your CV and I see what all you have done, what a fulfilling life you must have had, and what a dream you must have fulfilled flying up there in the skies. And the sky was your dream. We had a few other presentations also from personals from the Army, the Navy, and the aviation industry. Each of them had a story to tell us, which was very, very fascinating. But more than the stories that we hear from you, we are hoping by recording these talks and putting them on YouTube to reach out to the young generation and to create in them a desire to follow untrodden paths. And I'm sure that you must be saying to yourself that these untrodden paths have made all the difference in your life, because it is that really gives us that satisfaction at the end of it all. So with these words of introduction and a very warm welcome to you, Chitraji, we are looking forward to hearing you talk about soaring above the clouds, challenges of an aviation career. So I'm sure you're going to take us all up there to the clouds, and we are looking forward to flying in the clouds with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamila Ji, that totally undeserved and marvelous introduction. It is my honor to be here on this forum because I'm a great fan of AIWC Trivandrum, and I log into your sessions, especially your literary sessions, which I enjoy greatly. And I see that you left out my last request, so I will make it personally. Please start an online book club so that we can meet more often. So with that said, I will begin today's the presentation with your permission. But before that, I would like to thank all of you from AIWC Trivandrum. And especially, I see that my founder president, Beena Jain Ji, is here today. So namaste, Beena ji, and I'm beyond touch that you have joined us. I hope she's still here because I saw her briefly in the
Yeah,
beginning.
she's there.
Yes,
Yes.
Beena ji, namaste. Okay, and with your blessings, I will start. Okay, so namaskar and good afternoon. I'm Chitra Sarkar, and in this presentation, I'm going to tell you what it was like to be a woman in aviation in India, and whether I would recommend this field and this occupation to young women who are starting their careers in 2026. But the surprising fact is that the aviation field today is so very different from the field I joined almost 40 years ago that it's almost like talking about two different industries altogether. When I joined aviation, I joined in the days of the legacy carriers, the national carriers. Every country had just one international airline, which was called their national airline, and the pride and the honor of the country flew on its wings. And the airline business was a cartel, and airline fares were all decided in the cartel by the International Air Transport Association. Airline fares were very, very high, and only the elite could afford to travel. The airline business had an aura of exclusivity and privilege. And our mascot in Air India was the Maharaja, who bowed to serve you. So the passenger was like a super Maharaja, who even a Maharaja would bow and serve. And our minister was Dr. Karan Singh, himself a Maharaja. So that was a different era altogether, and that has vanished forever. Because what happened then along the way was that the Gulf boom started, and the scenario changed completely. So suddenly, almost overnight, thousands of Indian laborers were traveling to the Middle East and the Gulf in search of jobs, and the Indian economy changed, the Indian airline business changed, the Indian passenger himself and herself changed completely. And today, what you are seeing is the logical conclusion of that change. So airline travel has become much more democratic. It's become completely democratic. Fares are no longer cartelized by the International Air Transport Association. They are fixed according to what the market will bear. And as a result, the airline industry being as capital intensive as it is, many of the airlines are struggling in the red, as we know. And the situation has changed so much that I'm going to divide my talk today into two parts. One is directed at the youth of today who are considering aviation as a career opportunity option. And I will try and tell them what they can expect out of the airline industry today, which is very different from what I saw when I joined. And then, if you will indulge me, the second half of my talk will be about my own adventures in the airline field at a time when there were not that many women who stepped outside their homes and worked and left their homes and their countries and worked abroad. And it was a tremendous opportunity and something that has been a great learning experience for me. So I hope the first part will be of use to the young people who are logging in today. And I hope the second part will be of interest to my generation, who will, I hope, relate to the pressures and constraints that I faced as a working woman and the challenges and the privileges it brought us in those days. So with that said, I would like to start screen sharing, and I hope this works.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so can everyone see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet? Oh, okay.
Minimize this. Minimize that. What? Minimize this here.
1 minute. Okay, can you just tell me when you see it, okay?
Minimize it. Yeah. Screen share. Hold on. Screen share.
I did. I thought I did.
Yes. Middle one. The highest one. Yes. Now share down below or share button. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it has started coming.
Oh, it has started? Okay.
Yeah, it has come. It has come already.
Enlarge this.
Yeah.
Go back to the minimize it.
Yeah, we can see the first slide.
Go to the PowerPoint. Go to PowerPoint. Yeah, this one. Now, carry.
Okay, you can see it and I can see it. I hope you can still see it, huh?
Yes.
So, okay. So India is now one of the fastest growing aviation markets in the world. In anticipation of this, Indian Airlines are already placing aircraft orders. The government's UDAN policy encourages new regional operators on underserviced routes. So this sector is creating employment opportunities across technical, operational, customer service, and management roles. Estimates indicate that India may need 22,000 more pilots by the end of 2030 and an equal, if not larger, number of aeronautical engineers to support the new routes that will be flying in the next 10 years in the guise of AMEs, that's aircraft maintenance engineers. So opportunities have opened across the entire aviation ecosystem. You may well ask, why is this industry growing so fast right now? So let us look at some of the indices that indicate that our industry is poised for rapid growth over the next decade. What are the growth indicators of aviation? That the airlines themselves are placing orders. All the Indian airlines, Air India, Indigo, and Akasa Airlines are showing great optimism in their aircraft orders. Besides, the buoyancy in the Indian economy has resulted in a growing middle class, and additional disposable income has led to a 12 to 15% increase in travel for tourism over previous years. The government's new UDAN policy, which stands for Ude Desh Ke Aam Nagrik, encourages the average Indian to choose air travel by increasing connectivity and reducing fares. This scheme was approved by the Union Cabinet only in March 2026, that is last month. And over the next 10 years, the Government of India will open 100 additional airports and 200 modern helipads to connect previously underserved regions. This augurs very well for growth in the secondary and tertiary airline markets. The overall growth of the economy has resulted in greater cargo and logistics movements. As routes expand and more aircraft are deployed, the maintenance, repair, and overall sector will need more aeronautical engineers and aircraft technicians, while the demand for private and business jets is growing faster than commercial aircraft because of the increasing profitability of corporates. All this is leading to increased job opportunities. Job opportunities are available with both Indian and foreign airlines that operate to India. Domestic carriers which are recruiting in India include Indigo, which is currently India's largest domestic airline, the Air India Group, including Air India Express, Akasa Airlines, SpiceJet, and Alliance Air, whereas foreign airlines are also recruiting in India. Many global airlines don't just fly here, they also recruit because they need crew who have local language capability to communicate with passengers who are not English friendly and are traveling on the routes of the foreign carriers. So similarly, Emirates, Qatar Airways, and Etihad recruit in India. Singapore Airlines recruits in India, and so does Lufthansa. Let us look at a little more detail at the career opportunities now available in aviation. It's a very wide range of opportunities across a spectrum of qualifications and aptitudes. Of course, the first thing you think of when you think of airlines is pilots. This is one of the most aspirational careers available in the world. Industry projections suggest that 1,500 or 2,000 new pilots will be required every year, and the immediate short-term requirement may be as high as 7,000 pilots. The qualifications required to become a pilot is School leaving, that is 10+2 with physics and maths. A minimum age of 18 years, DGCA class 1 medical exams. A pilot has to be extremely fit. DGCA class, sorry, I said that. A commercial pilot's license and flying hours as per DGCA norms. As important as pilots are the men and women now who maintain the aircraft, both line engineers as well as base engineers. Line engineers look after the immediate requirements of an airline aircraft ready to take off, whereas base engineers are responsible for long-term maintenance. Then you have the mechanical engineers and the avionics engineers. And the estimate is that 38,000 of these engineers will be required in the next 10 years. The qualifications are 10+2 of school with physics, chemistry, and maths, and a DGCA approved AME course certificate, DGCA licensed exams, and practical maintenance training. I'll just take a minute to say that DGCA stands for the Directorate General of Civil Aviation. It is a government body that controls civil aviation in India. And then, of course, cabin crew, who are the most visible face of any airline and one of the fastest hiring areas in airline recruitment. India faces shortages in cabin crew because foreign airlines also hire Indian nationals as cabin crew. And the duty of a cabin crew is not just to stand there and look fair and give you a drink. They have very important responsibilities regarding safety, especially in an emergency. So a flight attendant has to attend to passenger safety, emergency response, service etiquette, communication, and crisis management. The qualifications of a flight attendant should be a minimum school leaving certificate of 10+2, although graduates are preferred, a good command of English and communication skills, grooming and customer service training, medical fitness, and a knowledge of several languages is always an asset. The next very wide field of recruitment in aviation is the ground handling sphere. Now, ground handling has many different subsections. You have the staff that check you in at the airport, that accept your baggage and load the baggage, that take you to the aircraft, and that do the basic interface with the crew of the aircraft. So you have passenger check-in and boarding, cargo handling, and ramp operations. And the qualifications needed are 10+2 of school or graduate preferred. And if there is a diploma or a degree in aviation, travel, or hospitality, that is preferred. Another field of aviation is flight dispatch, the man or woman who actually sees the aircraft off and monitors it along its entire flight route and attends to its safety and weather conditions. Flight dispatchers can be operations controllers, crew schedulers, and route planners. And the qualifications needed are graduation in aviation, science, or engineering. And DGCA approved dispatch certification is preferred. Air traffic controllers are government employees. We've all seen the beautiful high ATC towers, and you see the ATC controllers sitting in their tower and directing the aircraft to land or take off. Current staffing shortages have been officially flagged as a safety concern in this area. And to become an air traffic controller, you need a BSc in physics, maths, or engineering, and you need to pass the Airports Authority of India recruitment exam. For corporate high flyers, preferably with an MBA degree, there are the following options: airline revenue management, airport management, human resources, finance, sales and marketing, and corporate strategy. My own field was sales and marketing. And the qualifications, the most preferred qualification is an MBA, but a BBA and a BCom can also apply. And if you have a specialization in aviation management, which wasn't there in my time, but is now quite prolific, that is preferred. And there are regulatory bodies under the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, and the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security. They're both government bodies that regulate the business, the airline industry, and they hire officers to man their organizations. So the industry is now entering a 10 to 15-year hiring cycle, which is good news for those who are entering the job market now, because aviation is not just a dream. It's a very serious employment opportunity with high salaries, long-term stability, and global exposure. One has to remember that the airline industry is very capital intensive and very technically advanced, and human lives in hundreds are at stake. So it is an extremely highly regulated industry, and to enter it, you need certifications, exams, and licenses that are prescribed by the Government of India, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation. And it is important to achieve those qualifications through recognized institutes. So the DGCA controls the licensing of technical and flying institutes, and the University Grants Commission regulates the licensing or the recognition of non-technical areas. It is essential to qualify from an institute whose certification is recognized by the DGCA, without which you will not be hired. So the recognized central government institutes owned by the Government of India are the Rajiv Gandhi National Aviation University in Amethi, the famous IGRUA, that is Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Udan Academy in Amethi, and the National Flying Training Institute in Gondia. Similarly, there are recognized institutes for AME training, that is for aircraft maintenance engineers training, and to work as an AME, you must attend a DGCA approved institute that follows the CAR 147 training standards, which is a rigorous set of rules that cover all the essentials. For management level appointments, there are institutes that offer degrees and diplomas in aviation. But as I said, if you have an MBA from a prominent institute, that will do you very well. Before enrolling, the aspirant must verify the recognition status of the institute he is hoping to join, and that can be found through the DGCA official website or the UGC portal or the NAAC rating, which is granted by the Government of India and indicates the suitability of institutes of higher learning. So that was a quick rundown of the kind of career opportunities that are presenting themselves to young Indians at this point in time. But aviation is a huge field and it is affiliated to travel and they're very closely related. So even if you do not make it in an airline, there are very, very interesting careers to be had in ancillary fields. And let's just quickly run through some of them. There is travel and tourism and travel agencies, which I think all of us know because we all use travel agents at some time in our life. So the ancillary fields include travel, hospitality, culture, event management, digital content, and journalism. So they are a very wide spectrum. If you have a flair for writing or you have a flair for cooking and F&B, or if you are very athletic and you like adventure travel, there is a niche for you in this business of ours. So all of us know what a travel agent does. He gets your ticket, he books your flights, he books your hotels, he gets your visa. They're very useful people to know. A tour operator is somebody who organizes group tours because some people may not want to travel alone and like to travel in a group where everything is taken care of by other people. A tour manager or a tour escort is the person who accompanies a group. An itinerary planner or travel designer designs the route of the group tour so that you get best value for money and you see the most interesting things. And now in this age of IT, you also have the online travel executive. And what does he do or she do? She liaises with the online portals like Make My Trip and Yatra.com and gives you the same services that an analog travel agent would do, but online instead. So this is the age of the new IT dominated sector, and that has also made its way into the travel industry. Then, of course, there is the famous hospitality industry, which is hotel management, and that is the backbone of travel. Hotels, resorts, homestays, Airbnb, spas, all these come under the wide range of travel-related ancillaries and offer an option to interested participants. A new and ever-growing field for young people is adventure tourism and ecotourism. Ecotourism is booming after the concern over climate change and sustainability. So in this field, you can be an adventure tour leader or a wildlife enthusiast or an ecotourism planner, but this requires a very high level of athleticism and fitness. Then, of course, if you aren't into actual travel, or you have a flair for writing, or you are a good photographer, you can be a travel writer or a travel photographer. If you're an IT specialist, you can specialize in search engine optimization for travel companies. So there are desk-bound jobs as well available in this field. The interesting thing about travel ancillary businesses is that there is a very, very wide range. It ranges from basic to luxury, and it is very MSME friendly. That is, you can start a business with very little capital and very little manpower. It could be your own front room and you yourself working alone, and you could design group tours or heritage walks, or you could have an Airbnb. There are plenty of opportunities. There is huge potential for this business in India. So that is the travel, tourism, and aviation business, which was my lifeblood for 36 years. I spent all my official working life, that is supposed to end at the mandatory retirement age of 58, in a wonderful company called Air India, which has vanished off the face of the map, because the company that is called Air India today is very, very different from my Air India. And this was Air India's headquarters on the slide here, which, as you know, has now been sold completely. It isn't even an airline headquarter anymore. And Air India's headquarters have moved to Delhi. So I'll spend the next few minutes telling you about my adventures in Air India in a business that has completely vanished and is not available for anyone to join anymore. So when I joined Air India, I was fortunate enough that the founder of Air India, Mr. J.R.D. Tata, was still our chairman. And he held India's commercial pilot's license #1. He was the first person to get an Indian commercial pilot's license, and he was known as the father of Indian civil aviation. And in 1992, the government of India recognized his greatness by awarding him the Bharat Ratna. And for all those thousands of us who had worked in his airline, we truly believed he was a Ratna, and he really was. Before he got the Bharat Ratna, he had also got the Padma Vibhushan in 1956. But his later career convinced everybody that the Padma Vibhushan was nowhere near what he deserved. So he did get the Bharat Ratna, and we were very happy about it. JRD was a very, very cultured man, and his mindset permeated Air India. He believed that we must show the world what being a true Indian meant. So our mascot was an Indian Maharaja, but his personality was JRD's personality, and he would do all these hilarious little things that were memorable. I think everybody in my generation who is here today remembers the Air India ads and the antics of the Maharaja. So I've just put up a few posters because time is short, but I could put up so many more. JRD named our aircraft very evocative names. There was the Kashmir Princess, and there was Kanchenjunga. And when the jumbos arrived, he named them after Indian emperors like Raja Chola, because he knew the Mughals were not the only dynasty that had ruled India, and there were many other great dynasties that had done great good for India. So we had emperors from different dynasties, and there was our big, beautiful bird, one of the most beautiful planes in the sky. I don't think I'm totally biased when I say that. Okay, our founder was a very humble man. Whenever he flew, he would slip past the airport manager standing at the entrance of the airport with a garland in his hand, go and check in very quietly, and go outside and chat with the loaders until it was time to board. And then he would take the tarmac bus to the step ladder. He would carry his own hand baggage always. He would board quietly, and then he would wander down the aisles very inconspicuously, checking if all the seat ashtrays were clean. Now, when I see passengers coming with magnificent retinues, I remember him. Since Air India was our national carrier, it was part of my duties to represent the government of India in various international regulatory bodies. One was IATA, which I told you about, which was a cartel of airlines that decided fares and regulations that affected the airline industry. We would actually get together and sit in the IATA headquarters in Geneva and decide what fares we were going to apply to which route and what rules we were going to apply across the board, whether it was baggage, excess baggage, or whatever. I mean, that thought is possibly considered abhorrent now, but that was just routine 25 years ago. And as I told you, we represented the government of India in tourism organizations all over the world. One of the most powerful was the Pacific Area Travel Association. And we were proud to be associated with the Ministry of Tourism and their wonderful campaign called Incredible India. So a shout out to Mr. Amitabh Kant, who was the architect of that campaign, and it really brought India into the limelight. So we would do joint promotions with Government of India Tourist Office to promote India as a destination all over the world. And everybody was happy to pose with our Air India mascot, the Maharaja. So here we have Mr. Salman Khan. And if you saw my husband peeking over my shoulder trying to fix the PPT, that's him over there, looking much younger. And this is some actress. And this, of course, is our Maharaja doing his number. For a few years, I handled the VVIP flights operated by Air India when our presidents and prime ministers traveled abroad on official missions. It was a great honor, but the responsibility was tremendous. And the flight had to be operated flawlessly, and even the smallest breach could lead to very serious repercussions. So here I am at the door of the VVIP aircraft with the presidential symbol behind me, and on the red carpet which the VVIP would walk on his way to that beautiful bird behind me. President Abdul Kalam was a most endearing man, in spite of being a genius. I have some funny stories to tell, which please keep to yourself, because they're supposed to, well, he's gone. I mean, many of these people have gone, so it's not a secret anymore. But President Kalam was very humble and polite, but he had a great sense of humor. So on board the VVIP aircraft, every day after a stop, there would be a media press briefing by the president to the journalists that were accompanying us on these flights. And he would recap the activities of that station and what the government had achieved and hoped to achieve through that visit. But Dr. Kalam never stopped thinking like a teacher. He was very, very humble. He was most unpompous for a president, and he always thought like a teacher. In fact, he would tell us that one of the first things he would say in every VVIP flight is that the three most important people in any person's life are the father, the mother, and the primary school teacher. And whenever he would be briefing the press, there would be all these senior journalists scribbling away. Those were the days when they scribbled on notepads with pens or pencils. And always there would be some youngster at the back who would be doodling and not paying attention. So Dr. Kalam would see him and he would say something really insightful about the previous day. And as everybody was scribbling away, he would throw his pen at that person and it would land right in his lap. And then he would say, "What did I just say?" That was always a laugh. Then one of the other moments I remember is that when we were in Singapore and there was a reception for the president, and Mr. George Yeo, who was the Singaporean foreign minister at that time, happened to mention that Singapore is so small and India is so large. And Dr. Kalam, ever the scientist, said, "But haven't you heard of the power of nanotechnology?" And of course, Mr. Yeo was quite pleased. Then there was always this, there would be some crack or other by some NRI. So once an NRI asked him, "Dr. Kalam, what do you plan to do about India's population problem?" And as you know, Dr. Kalam was a bachelor, a lifelong bachelor. So he threw up his hands and he said, "I'm doing what I can." And then there was the other incident when somebody asked him, "Dr. Kalam, you are talking about peace, but you made the bomb for India." And he would always get this question and he would always answer with quiet pride, "You cannot have peace without strength." And he believed that very sincerely. So remembering back on all his little, gems of wisdom is a real privilege. Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a great poet. And during his symposiums and his press briefings, he would spontaneously burst into poetry of his own poetry. And people would be quite emotional and they would say, "Wow, wow. I wish I could have recited some of his poems to you, but my Hindi is so poor that I would not do justice to our great poet Prime Minister." As everybody knows, Dr. Manmohan Singh was an extremely soft-spoken man. And we were in New York on his 75th birthday, and our ambassador, Mr. Rono Sen, threw a reception. And Dr. Singh was so gracious and so grateful, you would think that was the first birthday party he had attended in his life. The marvelous thing is our great dignitaries have such wonderful human values, and this is something I got to see and I consider a great privilege. So after every successful VVIP flight, our gracious VVIPs would invite us for a meal at home, like we might do to our friends. Only their home was Rashtrapati Bhavan. So there we would be having a meal with the president, and this is a picture of me with my chairman and some of my colleagues having dinner with the president. When I finished my VVIP assignment, the president's household presented me with a very touching souvenir. It was an album of photographs of me against a backdrop of the most beautiful building in the world, and I was extremely touched. And here I am in the Darbar Hall of Rashtrapati Bhavan, where the Padma Awards are given. And this Buddha is an extremely ancient and very beautiful and rare piece, which stands at the head of the Darbar Hall. And that's Partha again. And here I am in my office in the Air India building in Narman Point, Mumbai. You saw the outside facade, and this is what it looked like inside. But as I grew in the airline, it became time for me to leave my cabin in my beautiful office building and venture out to other stations and regions of Air India to head the station as station manager or as regional head in Hong Kong, Singapore, Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. I just wanted to add a footnote here that I could certainly not have done it without the support of my family. My mother-in-law actually used to come with me so that I could take my children. My children were small then, they were under 10 years old, and they traveled with me to most of my postings. And it was a great learning experience for them. So I would say the key to being able to compete on an equal footing with men and yet be able to be true to your responsibilities as a woman is a supportive family. And that is the great Indian family that we owe so much to. Because, if you want to compete on an equal footing, you have to be able to do whatever it is that men do. And you can't hang back and say, no, I can't do it. Because then they say, okay, stand back. So that is, you need a supportive mother-in-law. Okay, so once I had stepped outside the bounds of India, there were some adventures, and I wish I could tell you more of them, but I think we're running out of time, so I should wind up and leave time for questions. But there were many, many memorable adventures, and I will tell you one of them, well, one or two of them. So here I am presenting a ticket to the winner of a lucky draw. But of course, in true Air India style, we didn't give him a little measly little paper ticket. Remember the days of paper tickets? Each airline had a paper ticket. So that would not have looked good in a photograph. So the Air India PR department devised this big wooden plywood cutout that we would hand out, and of course accompanied by a real ticket, and then he could take it home and show it off and put it on his wall or do whatever he wanted with it. And that was a great bit of fun on the stage. And with me here are Mrs. Meera Shankar, who is the Indian ambassador to the US, and the Indian Minister for Civil Aviation, Mr. Praful Patel. And this is at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, where Air India had sponsored an exhibition of the most exquisite Rajdhani miniatures, which were part of the collection of Maharaja Gaj Singh, who is here on my right. And he was gracious enough to come himself and cut the ribbon. So this is at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. And it was always, always the greatest of pride when we got to stand in front of the national flag and be an Indian airline, which is what we were, and accompany India's ambassadors at the head of a parade. In this case, this was the Independence Day parade in Manhattan on Fifth Avenue, which takes place just before independence on a weekend every year. And that tradition still continues and is always a matter of great pride for the Air India Regional Director. I hope they still do it. So before I say goodbye, I just want to add something really important. And I have given a lot of information in the first part of my talk, but I want to remind you that I no longer work for Air India. My heart belongs to AIWC and to Ujjwal. Binaji, I hope you're still here. So I've retired, and the facts and figures I've talked about in my presentation are not those of an industry insider. They are from the public domain. So if you are planning to join the airline industry, or you have a young person who is interested in joining the airline industry, do please check the websites of the regulatory authorities, the DGCA and the BCAS, as well as the websites of the airlines to find out the latest information. And I hope if you do join the airline industry, you have a wonderful time and a great, great career. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you, Chitra ji. That was a wonderful narration. You made us all sit without moving, listening to your own personal experiences. And I must say, what a beautiful young lady in all those photographs. I was admiring you. Looking so good and beautiful in all of that.
Thank you, Jamila ji. That is so kind of you.
I must say, because you divided it to two parts. The first part is, of course, going to be a great help to aspiring young graduates and postgraduates and engineers. I hope that this recording will be seen by many more young people in Kerala as well as all over India. And before I open up the talk for discussion, I would like to welcome Binaji, who is here with us today, Sheila Katke, who has joined us, and Rehana, who is the treasurer, who are all here to promote the activities of the Trivandrum branch and this particular series that we are doing now. I would request Beenaji to say a few words before we move on to the discussion.
Thank you very much, Jamila. I just say that, Chitra, your presentation is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I know you so well. And one quality I want to tell all of you, that she gives a lot of regard to elders. Lot of regards. So I'm quite happy for that thing. कि चित्रा जो है वो बहुत ही संभली हुई, बहुत ही अच्छी, बहुत ही knowledgeable, बहुत ही good worker. It's a very good worker. And I feel that Ujjwal, she is asset in Ujjwal, and Ujjwal is very lucky to have such members. And your line is very different, but I'm scared to sit in the air. But even then, I travel a lot. Not now, but whole my life. But I say all the best, Chitra, for future also. And recently, I visited a Buddha
Museum.
Museum. Chitra explained so thoroughly that I was amazed to see that how she remembers so much. Small things. So a very small museum, but we were there at 2 hours. But everything is in my mind because I learned very deeply and what she's saying. So just I can say, Chitra, your first part, it is very good for youngsters. Youngsters, they should join, they should go in this field. And because a lot of children, they want where to go, what to do after graduation or after something. So I think we should plan something to reach up to the youngsters. This is my feeling. Or I can't say more about anything. Magar, all the best, Chitra, for future also, for present also, and always. My blessing with you.
Thank you, Beenaji. We seek your blessings in everything we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Beenaji. Sheila Kakti. Sheila ji, if you're there, would you like to unmute and say something? Rehana? Okay, now, since none of them are opening up,
Oh,
go ahead,
so now
please.
better? Achha.
Rahana, please go ahead.
Yeah. We are having some problem in network. Dear Madam, on behalf of the All India Women's Conference National Committee, I extend our heartfelt thanks to the Trivandrum branch for successfully organizing session beautifully arranged topics 7 in the inspiring series, Achievers and Trailblazers. What a excellent topic. Women taking untrodden career paths. This webinar titled Soaring Above the Clouds Challenges of an Aviation Career truly illuminated the vibrant aviation sector and the remarkable journeys of women pioneers. The session was enriched by the insights of our esteemed guest speaker, respected Mrs. Chitra Sarkar, former Executive Director of Air India. Her expertise on navigating professional challenges in aviation captivated the audience, motivating aspiring women to pursue bold career paths. The branch's meticulous planning, seamless execution, and engaging modernization made it a standout event, fostering meaningful discussions on women's empowerment. We appreciate your dedication to promoting trailblazing stories that align with AIWC's mission. Events like these strengthen our network and inspire branches nationwide. Respected Ushaji, my evergreen mentor, please convey our sincere appreciation to the team, volunteers, and participation. Looking forward to more collaborative initiatives in future. Thank you all.
Thank you,
you.
Rahana.
Thank
Thank you
you,
for
Rana.
your words.
Thank you so much, Rehana ji. I'm
Thank you,
really
Ji.
touched.
It was wonderful listening to you, but one thing as you were talking that suddenly came to my mind was in the second part of your presentation, Chitraji. What really touched me was the human touch
Yeah.
and the way in which so many people in very high positions that you have come into contact with and the familiarity with which they have, in fact, interacted with you. Those are all touching moments which I think will remain in your memory forever. But one more thing, it is always said that behind every successful woman is a man. But I'm very glad to hear that behind your success was your mother-in-law.
Chitraji has a great sense of humor also.
Yeah. Yes, anyone else would like to unmute and
Yes, our Vice
comment?
President Kripa Shetty is here. Kripa ji, would you like to say something? Please unmute and speak. You are muted. Please unmute.
Muted.
Yes,
Yes,
I'm
please.
not.
Go.
I'm
please
not
go
aware
ahead.
of. I'm not so much aware of this question of aviation, but still, my son is an aeronautic engineer, come MBA. He is in the aeronautic system only. He is working as a professor in ISBR college now. So I'm not. I'm listening to your conversations and all. And Chitra ji gave such a beautiful explanation about her career all the way. And I was really impressed by her talk. Thank you, ma'am. I don't have much to talk, anything like that.
Thank you, ma'am, and I wish your son a wonderful career in aviation.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I think Boneshwari has unmuted. You would like to say something?
Yeah, it was a very informative webinar, and actually, Air India has got a very special place in our lives. In Government of India, we always are supposed to travel by Air India. So, and we very recently we have been doing that only. After retirement, of course, we have to go for cheaper airlines and all that. But Air India has been. So it is one thing. It is you are very lucky to have been working in the era of JRD Tata. You know, that was a wonderful thing you could. Have I hope you had some interaction also, I'm sure.
I would
And
have told you so many stories more of JRD if I had time. He was
yeah,
really
he's
a
such a
wonderful
humble.
man. Yeah.
He's such a humble person. We have read a lot of stories about him. And then, of course, the names he has given, that was very, impressive. The Raja Chola
Yes.
Airlines, then. Uh, and another thing was that you're being with Dr. Abdul Kalam and Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Manmohan Singh, you would have been really proud of yourself. It is really a great moment for you. And those paper tickets are no more, really miss it.
No.
The first time I went, I was going to Paris on an official tour, and Air France had told that there is no paper ticket. It's everything is online, and I really could not sleep till I got into the boat.
I
I
know the
was not
feeling.
sure whether I will get a boarding pass. I kept asking the Air France people, "Oh God, I need some paper to show."
I know
So
the feeling, yeah.
yeah, and the Air India tickets were really beautiful one. The colored,
And you
white
remember
colored.
the aircraft interiors, Bhuvaneshwari? They were all painted.
Yes.
Most aircraft had plain interiors, but Air India's aircraft had miniature paintings on them.
Yeah, that
That
was
was all
very
GRD
I still
style.
And
I still
what
have a copy of the Air India ticket with me.
Yes.
I loved is the food they serve. Even now on Air India flights, the food they serve hot. There is no comparison to any airline, I'm sure. And
I'm
of
glad
course,
you
our
can.
friends always make fun of us. You people are fans of Air India, but these days the Air India flights get delayed and like that. But then we always have traveled,
Yeah,
and
they're
they're
going
long
through a bad
distance.
patch. But the only one of the few airlines that still gives food is Air India. Other
Yeah,
airlines don't even give you any food. But
yeah,
we've always done that. I can't say
that's
we
it.
anymore. It's not JRD's
Yeah.
airline. It's not my airline anymore. But still, I feel
Anyway,
it.
that was a
Thank you.
wonderful session
Thank
we
you.
had. And thank you. And especially you showed the first part and you divided it into two parts. That was very useful. And I'm sure many youngsters who might go through this,
I hope so.
recordings of our program
I
will
hope
be
so.
really
I hope
beneficial.
so.
Will be really beneficial. You made it so very clear, each part. That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We have some messages in the chat box. I'll just read that out. Mona has sent a message saying, amazing talk, Chitraji.
Thank you, Mona.
Dr. Vasanthi Ramesh says, my love to you, Chitraji.
Mine to you,
Again-
Vasanthi ji. Lots
And
of them.
again, Mona says, great achievement, respected madam. Neera says, such an informative and interesting presentation, Chitra. Love
Thank
the
you, Neera.
stories. Indrani Sengupta says, wonderful narration, Chitraji.
Dhanyavad,
Congratulations.
Indrani Di.
Nandini Guha says, very informative. And there is a Samsung which says, all the best. And Rehana says, great presentation. These are the messages that are in the chat.
Thank you so much.
All compliments for you. And I feel that this particular talk has been not only informative, but it is something that will help our youngsters also to find the direct way to getting registered or doing those examinations or the kind of qualification. That was a very detailed one that you gave, which I thought was going to be very useful rather than just informative. Usha, you would like to say something?
Yes, if nobody else is speaking. Yeah, so Chitra, thank you so much first for accepting our invitation. And we are very happy that we have been able to feature members of AIWC. As a member of Ujjwal, you are part of AIWC. And one of our earliest speakers, Renuka Nair, she was from Indian IOC, and she spoke. She also gave a wonderful presentation about the energy sector. She is a member of Trivandrum main branch. So like this, we have many more hidden gems in our own branches. I think we should invite all of them to give presentations and tell us about their exciting lives. And it has been a very great experience, your presentation. And as Jamila and Bhuvaneshwari have already mentioned, the first part was really, at least for me, it was an eye-opener. I didn't know that there were so many career opportunities in the aviation sector. And then, with all different qualifications. And I'm sure it will be of great help to young people who are aspiring for careers in aviation. And we'll try to circulate it to institutes who are training young people for aviation careers. I'm sure they'll find it very, encouraging. And also to see your experiences, the type of people that you come into contact with, such great minds, such great people you interact with, and I'm sure that also helps you to grow yourself, isn't it?
It does.
So it was a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Chitra. And we
Thank you
hope
so much for the opportunity.
And
Thank
we
you.
hope to see you.
Thank you,
You are an
Chitraji. But
elder,
Usha, I would just like to add something to
Yes.
what you just said, I was very fascinated by the fact that you are a tour guide for the Buddha Museum
Yes, correct.
as well as
Energy came.
Humayun's tomb. Since most of us cannot travel all that distance and see them, it would be a good idea if you would come for a cultural and literary forum and give us a talk on some of the great heritage sites in India.
I'd love to
or
do
what
that.
what
If you
you
don't
are
get tired
working.
of hearing me.
No, never.
Certainly not.
We
I
really
think that's
enjoy the talk, and we would like to know more about these heritage museums, which we really do not know. We know that it is there, but we don't know the history behind it. We don't know what is there in these museums. So
Come to
since
Delhi, I'll take you around.
yeah, it
Yeah,
would be a
you'll-
great idea if you would take us around online and
Yes.
show us the museum.
I think we
So,
can schedule
yeah,
a talk
maybe.
under HCF. Definitely, we'll do that. And you can tell us about the National Museum and maybe 2-3 museums together, or about each
Yeah,
one.
whatever
separate.
you like, I would love to do it.
We can have a series on that.
Yeah.
And
Because Beenaji said she got the benefit of
yes,
Yes, I had
hearing
the honor
about
of taking
the
my
museum.
founder around. Yes.
and also Jamila, her idea about the book club,
Yeah,
book
right.
discussions. That is
Yes,
something
please
that
do,
we had
please do.
already discussed, and then we were just wondering how to go about
Do you
it.
have any ideas as to how we could go
Sure.
about
I
it?
have in the US, I was part of an online book club. So maybe we can take this discussion offline and discuss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
we can
Right.
do that, or we can have a Zoom meeting and you can
Yeah.
give us
Yeah.
your ideas.
Surely, I would
Then
love
we can
to.
finalize our plans.
Yes, yes.
And that is a really good idea. And I'm sure many people, many dedicated members would be there who would join our discussions. Even
And
if
you
the
have
number
such
is few,
excellent literary sessions that the natural outcome should be a book club.
we'll do that.
I'm a great fan of your literary sessions.
Mhm.
Thank you,
Thank
Chitra. And Beenaji, thank you for joining. You have always given us encouragement, and you are muted.
Pleasure. Sometime I forget कि मैं हो फिर बाद में सोचती हूँ ये तो निकल गया.
No, but always the YouTube link is there, so you can go back and watch.
I love to attend because all your speakers are really, they give something.
We have been really fortunate in getting
Yeah.
very good speakers.
Your selection of speakers are very, very good.
And actually, Beenaji, it is not that we are selecting. They are all from our immediate surroundings, most of them.
Yeah.
So like Chitra and Renuka, they are our own members, but we don't know that they have gone through such exciting careers and they have achieved so much in their lives. So it is really wonderful to hear them. And now that they are with AIWC, we must recognize their experience and expertise and ask them to do something more for AIWC. That would be a great thing. So
I think this forum should become a celebration of the experiences of women.
Yes, and on other branches, if you have any member who has done so brilliantly in their respective careers, please tell us, and we would be happy to invite them as guests in our webinars. And that way we can enrich our own knowledge and also let other members of AIWC know that we have such gems within ourselves.
Yeah.
I also thank Rahana for taking the time to join this discussion. Unfortunately, Puljit could not join. She was at a meeting. She said if it was early, if she could leave early, she would join, but I'm sure she is held up. And Kripa Shetty, she has also been attending our webinars very regularly. She is one of the vice presidents. Thank you. And I thank all other members who have joined this session. And we'll come back next month again with another session on these careers. And also on LCA, we'll come back with a literary session as well. Thank you so much. And
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chitra, again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.